Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. You're listening to EVA 102.5 FM. It is Ramadan special, and it's me, Irfan Murajani, stepping in for young Khalil in a slight change to the schedule programming. Brothers, sisters, how are you? It is the 25th of Ramadan. It is now slipping away from our fingers. Alhamdulillah. I hope you've had a good week so far. I hope you've had a good Ramadan so far. And Eid is now in sight. So all the youngsters I know, I'm sure you must be really, really, really excited. And especially with half term being this week, there's no better way to prepare for Eid than having a week off from school and just chilling at home and getting all your stuff done and doing your fasting, your prayers, your Quran and everything like that. So hope everything is going well. And joining me today, this is a bit of a powerhouse show right now. So I'm just about to get Zedified. So yes, in the studio right now, this is the dream team. It's what everybody wanted. It's the one and only Brother Zaid Sheikh. Assalamu alaikum, Zaid.
Wa alaikum salam, Brother Irfan. You know, it's good to be sitting on the other side for a change.
Yes.
And it's more relaxing here. You can.
So if you're on the other side now, does that mean you're getting Zedified? And I'm doing the Zedifying?
That's right. That's the way it goes. You know, sitting on the other side is a little bit less pressure.
You know, Alhamdulillah, you and I, we never hardly get a chance to sort of be on the radio together. So this is a special moment for me.
And it's always been my wish, you know.
I feel blessed.
I need to sit with you. You were the presenter of the year last year.
Yes, well, thank you very much.
That's why I wanted to sit with you, to say, well, maybe I can learn a few tricks from you.
Learn a few tricks. I don't know. Maybe we can help each other in that respect, inshallah. Yeah, and hopefully the listeners will be enjoying it.
That's what it's all about, isn't it?
It is, in fact, you know. And I was saying this yesterday, that this is a community initiative for the community, by the community. It's about helping people to try new things, you know, learning new skills, giving back, you know, contributing. Because what I've learned in my few years here doing this is that there's so much going on out there, you know, within the community. There's such amazing people within the Muslim, you know, sort of fraternity that are doing excellent work. And this radio, you know, is a radio organization is a great platform for them to really sort of go out there. So it is Ramadan FM, EVA 102.5. The numbers, if you want to speak to Zed, the main man is 0116 212 9324, 07450 925 084. We're here till 7 o'clock, and we're going to be talking about some of what's been going on in the news today, mainly around education. So,
well, first of all, I want to make a correction here.
Go on then.
Ramadan special, EVA 102.5 FM.
Ramadan special.
Now, you know, we have a little competition going on that who's going to say that jingle the best.
I said it all right.
So you got to say it again now. Okay. Ramadan special.
Ramadan special on EVA 102.5 FM, coming to you live and direct from the heart of Leicester City, Evington Road.
I don't know. Now our producer will give us a mark on that to see which one is better. But going on forward now, you know, there's a lot of people doing some wonderful work in the community.
Amazing, excellent work.
Right? And this week, our theme is education and our spirituality. Being that it's the last 10 days, it's a time for us all to excel in making du'as. We don't know if we'll be here next year, Irfan.
True, and it's funny you talk about education, because one of the key principles in Islam is to seek knowledge, is to better yourself through learning, through developing yourself, you know, broadening your mind, opening yourself to different experiences and seeking knowledge, you know. So as we know in Islam, claiming ignorance or saying, you know, I didn't know this or I didn't know that, that's not going to cut it, is it?
Not at all. There is so many avenues now where you can learn knowledge, and there's no excuse really. Now you have the internet. You have, look how many masajids we have in Leicester.
Yeah.
In each masajid is an imam who can give you answers to any spiritual questions you have for him.
Yes.
And so on. So, and of course, you're surrounded with the good learned people in your social circle as well.
Alhamdulillah, definitely.
You know, I see a young kid, Yusuf. I think Yusuf is about 5-6 years old, and he was reading the last 10 surahs. Very excellent recitation, and then he was translating them to me in English.
So he's doing the tafsir of what he was
in
praying
English.
to. MashaAllah.
And
beautiful.
It was wonderful, because this is the way the young kids are going now. They're learning the translations in English, and it's very good. You know, I was at his house for iftar last night, and I was sat there with him learning.
Okay.
And we were doing this exercise together.
MashaAllah.
We read a surah, Qul Wallahu Ahad, and then translating that in English, and he was doing it. I said, wow. Now, in our day, we didn't have those opportunities, did we?
No, we didn't, and I think that's a great thing because my kids as well, they're benefiting so much from what they're learning. They've got access to so much information.
Now, Yusuf, at the age of 6, he's an inventor, he's an innovator, and he's a creative mind.
He's a pioneer.
Now, that is a kid for the future, isn't it?
Absolutely. So
I'd want to have him in my team any day.
Let's keep an eye on him and see how he develops and what he comes up with in the next few years, inshallah.
And of course, all of us in the community, we have to capacity build these young children, isn't it?
Yes.
To carry them through their journey of life and give them the opportunities by passing on our knowledge and our expertise and learning from them also.
Yeah, I think you're right. And, it's that time of year now where exams are around the corner, May, June, exams are around the corner, both at mosque and at school, depending on where you are on your education. And people, youngsters, I think we need to encourage them to start thinking about what is it they want to do as they grow, as they get older. How do they want to contribute to society? In being like you say, capacity build, being a productive member of society, being not necessarily a role model, but an example, being a pioneer, being an innovator, and doing all these sorts of things. So, I mean, in the news today, that you obviously being a businessman, you would have heard about the proposals to bring down the fees, the tuition fees, the university tuition fees, by about a couple of grand or so.
Well, even a couple of grand is not enough. So if you're going to finance, say if a family is earning £25,000
yes,
per annum, how is that father going to afford to pay £9,000 out of that 25 for his son or daughter to go to university?
Very difficult.
How's that going to happen? Even if he's earning 30,000. How is it possible? Now 30,000 is his gross salary. In his hand, he's going to get about 20. Yeah?
Yeah.
So what's he going to do? Does he have to survive now on MBE, milk, bread and eggs? Yeah? So this is a huge problem for our inner city community. Now, if you do the maths, if you borrow that money from the government, then you have to pay that money back. How are you going to pay that money back? How old will you be when you've paid the money back over 3 years? Now, you leave university and you've left there with a debt of £30,000.
Oh, I think it's a bit more than that.
Approximately. Let's say it's a 10 grand a year.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fees on top of that as well.
That's right.
These are just the fees. But then you've got your other accommodation expenses, your food and everything. So today, to go to university, there is a substantial cost. Now, those of you listening out there, give us a call and tell us, well, how much did you spend last year when you were at university? Now, who better to tell us than one of the university students?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think, for youngsters, I mean, I'm beginning to think about university for my children, inshallah, if that's what they decide to do. But I'm thinking, gosh, you're going to need at least 30 to 40K just to cover that. And I don't want any child or any young person out there
to lose the opportunity,
but also not to come out burdened with a 50K debt and then thinking about trying to get on the property ladder or whatever it is they want to do. And it's a frightening thought. That is stressful. That is stressful. It brings a lot of burden onto the individual, onto the families, onto the wife. But then you're quite right. It does seem like it's for those who are within a certain salary bracket. However, I don't know if you saw this. Companies like Google and Apple are now going to hire people without degrees. So they're saying that you don't have to have a degree. I mean, and you obviously, you've done really well since you've come from Uganda here in Leicester, and it's through your hard work and your street smarts. Does a degree, does it guarantee success?
It can do. It depends on you yourself as a person, because it's after the degree, what the degree does. What I've found is when I'm interviewing young people, graduates, I find that a graduate will always come with an element of discipline
Yes.
into your company. And that discipline is very important because graduates are working to deadlines to put a paper in, exam in. So they're used to that already. Now, somebody who has not been through that structure of working to a deadline, he'll come to a business or a shop or wherever, he may not turn up on time. That's not good for a business. So it's very important discipline. When we're at home in our informative years, we bring our children up to be disciplined, don't we?
We try.
And then that has to carry through. And our whole deen is about discipline, isn't it?
Absolutely. Indeed, indeed. But interesting, going back to the whole university environment, do you think there's an element where sometimes that creativity or that entrepreneurship within a young person is perhaps conditioned out of them by going through the system?
Well, sometimes if they pick the wrong course, or it's not so much about, well, my father wanted me to be an engineer, my father wanted to be an optician, a doctor, what about what you wanted to be? But it all then comes down to one individual and who is mentoring him, who is capacity building him, who is inspiring him, and what is his social network,
Yeah.
the people that he hangs with. Ultimately, all these are factors that will decide you tomorrow.
It's funny you mentioned that because I was playing with my niece. She's 6 years old, and we were just, I asked her, I said, so what do you want to be when you get older? And you know what she said to me? And you laugh at this. She said, I want to be a YouTuber. Because they're seeing the sort of the level of exposure, the influence, and I suppose the credibility that some people are getting. We've seen a lot, even our local people here in Leicester become very good social media influencers, and they've gone on to do some really good things. So I think you're right. Education, I think first and foremost, there's an element of discipline to it. There's knowledge building. There's all these things that come with it, and it's not to be dismissed. But I think you can there are lots of other elements you can add to it because growing up it was go to university. It's not going to guarantee you a job, but it's going to give you a better chance when you're out there. And things are getting more and more competitive now. We're going to see Brexit is approaching. It just feels like the challenges are sort of stacking up for our young people.
I think now a new parent with a newborn, has got to start financial planning for that child.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, because your financial intelligence has to take precedent now, whereas before you did not have to do that.
You didn't.
You went to your primary school, you went to your secondary school, but going on after your A levels, you're going to university, you need to have planned from when you were born to ensure that you have the funds when you get there. So all the parents who are listening in now, give us your feedback, call us and talk to us.
Absolutely.
About what predicaments you have come across. Just like we do in our community, we call it a committee. Are you familiar with that?
I will try to avoid committees.
But you know what the committee principle is, right?
Yes.
You put money into it, and then when your turn comes, you cash that money up, and so on. So here, that luxury is not there now. That money is now much needed in your child's education.
It is, and if there are some folks listening out there, who've got some advice or something that's worked for them, any practical guidance or advice you can share with us will be gratefully received. It is Ramadan special, EAVA FM 102.5. Give us a call. The studio number is 0116 212 9324. 9324, and the text number is 07450925084. I am here with Mr. Zaid Sheikh, a local businessman and entrepreneur. I heard that you brought in some Ugandan dignitary.
Yeah, yesterday.
Maulana Khalil's show. What was all that about?
Yesterday, I thought it's good for the High Commissioner to come and meet the legend of Leicester, Maulana Khalil.
Okay, because I was thinking...
Do you think that was a good move?
I think it's a great move.
Yeah.
A great move, to get somebody like that meeting with the, like you say, the legend of Leicester, MKP.
Well, it's ironic, like a lot of families that came from Uganda pre-Malawi, mostly in the 70s, the families were from Uganda.
Yes.
And now the Ugandan government are taking it upon themselves to connect with the people who came.
But why is that? Is that purely for their own economic kind of
Yes,
revival?
yes. It is to create links for economic prosperity back in Uganda. So they want people to come there and invest money to create jobs, to make the industry flourish. Because they've all realized that the Asians are more enterprising, they're more innovative, they work with a high degree of initiative, and they're trying to bring it back.
It's
So
funny.
today there was a conference, and that's why the High Commissioner came here yesterday. And in the conference, they were showing you what investment opportunities are available
You should have called my dad, Zed.
in farming
You should have
and
called
all
him.
sorts
He
of
would have loved to have met
activities.
him. Really.
So
Next time he's around,
after
give me a
radio,
shout.
then I had to rush off there.
I mean, interesting you mentioned that about Asian demographic. When I was at university and I studied entrepreneurship as a subject, they did say that the Asian community has the highest percentage of entrepreneurs within that demographic. You know, most likely, us as an ethnicity, shall we say, or as a demographic, we are more likely than any other ethnicity to start a business or to start a trade or do something for ourselves compared to any other.
Of course, we have seen in the city of Leicester, the Asians have done, like in all of the major cities, in inner cities, the Asians have excelled, and we all have to be proud of that.
Absolutely. I mean, just look at Evington Road here. You know, in the last 10 years, the number of businesses that have just, flourished. And
Well, right this minute, we have a group of students
yeah,
who are working with us from Leicester University and from other institutions, working on the contribution of Asians in the city of Leicester. What is our input, how many jobs we've created, how much tax we've created for the government, whereas we are the assets of the community, all of us.
yes, no, we are.
And I think we have to sing about that. We have to bring awareness to that, not only to the powers that rule over us in Leicester, but to the whole wide world, nationally, globally, and it's something to be very proud of. So this study is being carried out right now so that we can bring awareness to it in the open.
And how long is that study going to be going
Well,
on
it's
for?
another 6 months,
Another 6
I
months.
think, yeah.
Okay, good. So
when
interesting to
you
see
see the study and you see the map of Leicester and you see all the green dots, the red dots, you'll then know, well, wow, this is just in retail where all the Asians' presence is. And then split into food, textiles, engineering, and all the various different industries.
I mean, because historically, Leicester as a city has been very, very at the forefront of industry, at the forefront of business. In the 70s, before the Ugandan sort of exodus, I think Leicester was the wealthiest city in Europe because of its textile sector.
Definitely. And I think it's something to be very proud of, isn't it?
Absolutely, really, really proud of that. And I think there's a spirit about Leicester, about people from Leicester. There's a sort of a never say die attitude or never give up type of philosophy. Interesting to see that. So we've got a minute before we go into the break, minute and a half or so. We're going to talk about what you talked about this morning when we come back after the break, which was the prevent agenda.
Yes, we had the prevent team here this morning, Sean and Mark. So we had some good, interesting meetings with them, and a lot of people who are not available in the morning because they're at work, they can have a chance now also to ask some questions, because on air and off air we had some good discussions, and we can all come out with some ideas as to how we can create a good working party representative of all of us in Leicester.
Okay, so
Not sporadic groups who have meetings and then we don't know what's been discussed. I think we all agreed that we need to do this collectively from the Muslim community.
more inclusive.
Completely inclusive.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll talk more about that after the break. It is Ramadan special on EVA 102.5 FM. It's myself, Irfan, and Zed in the house. We're here till 7 o'clock. Give us a call on 0116 212 9324 07450 925 084. We'll be talking more about the prevent agenda and following on from Zed's show this morning. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to Ramadan special EVA 102.5 FM with me, Irfan Mururajani. And in the studio is the one and only Zahid Sheikh, who is currently being Zedified by me. How's that process working out for you?
That's okay. That's okay with me.
You don't look too good, Zed.
Well, I got a bit of a stuffy throat.
Yeah?
I think it has been like a lot of people have got a bit of a fever.
You know what it is? I think at this point in Ramadan, everyone's tired. They don't have enough sleep. Immune system's a bit sort of, under the weather, whatever. So inshallah, just hang in there. I thought you'd come today with your England cricket top.
Well, England are. I was thinking about Arsenal more than I was England.
Oh, why were you thinking about Arsenal?
Because,
They got hammered.
a lot of my friends are Arsenal supporters and they've just not been in touch since yesterday.
Well, bichara, what can
They're
you what do you
normally,
expect,
they
man?
call me and now about good 10 of them and they've switched off. And
Well, I think all those Arsenal fans are going into etikaf now for the last 5-6
I
days.
think so, yeah.
So,
All the fans, yeah, they've just disappeared.
so who are you supporting in the Cricket World Cup?
Well, of course, I'm supporting.
Oh, Pakistan, yeah.
I support anyone who's going to be very sportsmanlike.
That's a politician's answer.
Who's a
Come on.
very, very good performer, and so on. But if you look at Pakistan's performance, they got thrashed by England.
They got worse than thrashed. They got absolutely destroyed.
So I don't know why you're bringing this up live on
I just thought, it's the start of the
Ramadan special,
Cricket
EVA
World Cup today.
102.5 FM.
And I just thought, you're a big cricket fan.
I'm a big fan, so I'll be watching all the games.
Yeah, I
on,
thought you'd
on
be here
TV.
with some members of the some ex-members of the Pakistan international cricket team.
Yeah, unfortunately, the radio will finish after Eid,
Yes,
and it'll be too late
too late.
to bring them here.
Okay.
But
So
it would have been very nice
all right,
to have them here.
Okay, so you are listening to Ramadan Special on EVA 102.5 FM. Folks, the phone lines are really quiet. We'd love to hear from you. We're talking about education. The number to dial in the studio is 0116 212 9324. Now, before we move on to the prevent discussion you were having this morning, Zed, going back to the education, which I kind of think links into prevent because education and prevent, it's sort of linked. But my kids take the mick out of me because, I have what they call a very English accent and the way I speak, and I found that over the years, I deliberately speak like that. So depending on who I'm with, I will change the way I speak, because, coming from as a communications professional, I think you have to get your message across in the best way. But also, living on a council estate where there were no other Asians or black families, you had to adapt to survive. And my concern is I see a lot of our youngsters, and they don't know how to communicate. It really worries me because I sit in the masjid and I listen to the Maulana on the Mimbar, and the Maulana, quite rightly saying we need to see more of our youngsters going into positions of, senior positions within industry, within business, becoming directors, becoming CEOs, becoming chairmen, because without those positions, our influence is not going to be there. And I'm thinking to myself, I see a lot of these youngsters and they learn, they have a lot of knowledge, but they don't know how to interact. And I think the big problem is, we hear, oh yeah, Muslims are not integrating, but we're not interacting. I don't think integration is the issue. We need to learn how to speak to speak to people from other backgrounds, whether they're Muslim, non-Muslim, whether they're white, black, Indian, not Indian. How do we set ourselves up to communicate and get our message across whilst leaving an impact and actually not making ourselves look like we don't know what we're doing?
Well, it all depends on the path you have chosen for you and for your children. It used to be said that before it was the survival of the fittest, but it's no longer like that. Now it is those who adapt to change or change to adapt, whichever way you want to spin it, and that's the way forward. You have to make a choice. The choice that you make will define your roadmap of life.
But I think it's even deeper than choice. I think it's around. I just see I don't want to say this, but I think I have to say it. We've become too insular.
Well, I was going forward to say you have a choice whether you want to integrate or you want to segregate. That's the choice you will make. And then that is going to determine your communication skills, your knowledge bank, and many other things. For me, when I'm with the Gujarati community, I'm flowing with them.
Yeah.
You know the reason for that? Because I speak their language better than their children speak it,
Yes.
right? So when the parents tell me that you speak Gujarati better than our own children do, and they don't hardly speak it because they speak English at home all the time. So that is the way forward, you know. You embrace other cultures, you learn other languages. How many people in Leicester know that there are 40 different nationalities on Evington Road and surrounding areas? Did you know that?
40.
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea it was that much. I knew it was diverse, but that's on a different level.
Of course, don't ask me to count them all, but that's the score here. It used to be 20, now it's gone up to about 40.
Okay. Okay.
And that is a lot of languages, isn't it?
Well,
A lot of cultures.
do you know how many languages spoken in Leicester?
I would say actively, maybe 20.
No. Do you know how many it is?
How many?
It's almost 80.
80 languages.
80 recognized languages within Leicester City alone.
Of course, yeah.
And those are official stats. So check it out. So let's talk now about the Prevent agenda. So this morning you had members of the local Prevent team, is that right, on your show?
Yeah, of course, they came early. So most of you will have been sleeping when I did this interview. And
Not
a lot,
me. I'm hard at work at that.
Well, I did the interview, and a lot of you will catch up with this interview on the Facebook. And it was quite interesting. And what I learned from it is that we need to step up our engagement as a collective body in the city of Leicester, and not as individuals where Prevent will go see individual schools and individual mosques and the different bodies that we have in the city of Leicester. We need to all collectively sit with them.
So how do we do that? Because I mean, you're absolutely right. I think there's something about being a safety in numbers and all that, and having a greater voice if everyone's singing at the same time and sort of trying to affect change at the same time. But going back to what I was saying, that we as communities are often insular. So within our own, say, Muslim community, there's not division or tribalism, but we kind of stick to who we know and what we know. There's not really an appetite to say, hey, you're from Sri Lanka, or you're from the West Indies, or you're from here. Let's have a chat. It doesn't really seem to see that.
Of course, throughout the world, you have issues of patriotism, nationalism, traditions, culture. You have all of these things, religion, so many different creeds. You have this problem everywhere.
Yeah.
So we all have to learn to integrate. And we need to do that here in the city of Leicester. Let's not go out of Leicester. Let's focus where we live. And we need to put together all the stakeholders, the women, the men, and we need to deal with issues in a collective manner. When I look at you, I see, right, he's a vote bank. You're a vote bank. I'm a vote bank. All of us are vote banks. And we can make an impact collectively. But if we do it individually, all we'll do is keep forming opinions and not be able to solidify any forum anywhere.
Okay, so text in if you agree with Zed, 07450 925 084. Zed saying that we need to do more, which I think is right. I think it's not going to happen overnight. I think it needs to happen in a very incremental way in terms of but I think there is that question that do we need to engage with bodies like Prevent because they it's clear that they have an anti-Islam agenda. Muslims are being singled out and persecuted, and we're all being tarnished with the same brush.
Well, he explained to me that throughout the country, in different cities, there is different issues. Like in some cities, there are more, Prevent is more busy with the far-right extremists.
But that never gets covered in the media, though,
no,
does it?
It doesn't get covered enough in the media. And one thing I have to share with all of you is that Sean, who is the Prevent officer in Leicester, along with Bill Knopp, he was quite critical of how the newspapers are portraying Islamophobic issues, or their keywords: Islamophobia, Islamist ideology, Islamic or Muslim. These are keywords that end up doing more harm than they do good. Because every time a message is put out, a Muslim girl or a Muslim boy is attacked on the street, anywhere in England at any one time.
Well, we saw it just last night, the sort of hit and run on Humberston Road. I don't know if you've seen that. There's been some videos
At the Masjid Taqwa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody was injured because what looked like a deliberate sort of trying to run over some people. So it's
So this is all the more reason that inshallah, we should start talking to the stakeholders in the community and create a general meeting. And recently, you know that the MEND team came to Leicester.
Yes.
And they put up an excellent presentation, and they are very good representation of what is going on.
Just remind the listeners who don't know what MEND are and what they do.
Muslim engagement.
Yeah.
And that's what they do. Is the M and E stands for Muslim Engagement and Development. So if we go through some of their stats, you'll be quite shocked with their stats. Young British Muslims will have accounted for 1/4 of the growth in the UK's working age population for the last 10 years almost, which is quite a frightening stat, isn't it?
That's massive.
Yeah. So a lot of stats that they have, they share with you, they bring awareness, and that is just one organization. But we have to take a lead. Each individual one of us have to take a lead on this and integrate, not to sit outside the fence, like Sean had rightly said in the morning, that if you make noise outside the fence, nothing happens. You have to come inside the school or inside the gate and inside the political spheres and engage.
But there's still a lot of suspicion around organizations like that, because how far can we trust them? How do we know they are representing our interests and not just waiting for us to slip up? Or
if we're going to sit here and argue this point, we'll never solve anything. What we need to do is dialogue and debate with them, put our facts and figures on the table and let them give us the answers. And we have been doing that when we meet them outside of the radio. We do that all of the time. And we need to continue to do that. But that's why I feel that if we do it collectively, as a representative of all the stakeholders in the city, we do it collectively, we'll have an impact.
Okay, so it is Ramadan special EAVA 102.5 FM with Zuneid Sheikh is in the studio. We're talking about education and prevent. We're getting a message on the Facebook. Salams, the rise of hate crime, especially in Ramadan, is because of what's in the press. There is no accountability. There are 21 negative headlines against Muslims. We all have a responsibility and must have a dialogue. So thank you for that, Sister Amreen, for that. Yeah, absolutely. We do need to have a dialogue. And, we are swimming against the tide in terms of the press and the media and how we are portrayed within the press and the media. And I think, recent events have maybe tried to maybe turn against, but there's always going to be an element of that, isn't there, Zed?
Exactly, and we're all here now. Our children are here, fourth generation almost, right? They don't know the languages, they don't know back home, where we came from, where our parents, our fathers, grandfathers. So they're here to stay forever. So it's up to us, the older generation, to create a platform for them, not to allow them to be living in a degenerative society. We need to make sure that they are part of the progressive society, which we have to be taking the lead on this. Look at the morals and the values that we are taught in our deen.
Yes.
We have to put them all into practice.
We do.
The Prophet ﷺ, he created a model society.
He did.
Before him, the society was gone astray totally.
Yeah, well, he was sent during the time of ignorance and jahiliyyat and all those things. And I think you're right. I think so funny enough, I was having a very quick chat with a brother after Taraweeh yesterday in the mosque. And we were just talking about, we were talking amongst me and him, we were saying that, we as a community, we suffer from inner sort of judgment. We're very judgmental of each other. We look at the length of someone's beard or how they're doing their headscarf, this and that. We don't actually look at what they're doing. But we tend to sort of overlook the fact that with Islam, our behavior, our conduct, our manners is really, really important. And whilst we are there in the mosques praying 5 times, doing our tilawat, doing our fasting, and so on, are we actually conducting ourselves in the way that is befitting of a proper believer? And that's something, we tend to sort of we don't like taking advice. We fight with people who try to advise us and guide us. If you go to all the masjids and we see outside how the cars are parked, for example, that's a massive display of just, I think,
Well,
how inconsiderate we can be.
We do the shoes and the car park every year. This year, we've had a lot of complaints about the litter. We've covered that topic extensively every day, and even the officer on his way here this morning, Mark Bailey, even he pointed that out. He listened about the litter issues on Evington Road, and he particularly brought to attention that was quite interesting, that we do wudu 5 times a day for sanitation, don't we?
Yeah,
to keep tidy.
But we don't.
And
clean
this
up
is
after
this
ourselves,
is quite true, because I made that statement and he picked up on it. So you see, it's good when we live by example. And Mark Bailey, he takes the good and he leaves the bad. That is what it's all about. We all have got a due care and attention to show the actions. It's our responsibility, all of us. We teach our children that, and ourselves as well. We have to be at top of the game.
Okay, great. So, we'll be watching very interestingly once the results of this survey comes out after the engagement and the findings from the discussions with Prevent, and see how far they get.
Well, with the meeting, in the end, was to say, yeah, it's a good idea. We should create that from all the stakeholders. Okay. Right now, don't forget that even the Sikhs and the Gujarati, the Hindu people, they get caught up in this as well.
They do,
right? And they're not even Muslim.
That's very unfair.
Yeah. So the brown skin, the people who are ignorant out there can't determine who's an Indian, who's a Sikh, or who's a Muslim. Especially the Sikhs,
Yeah.
They see the turban and they see that as a hat, and they are complaining as well.
Yeah. But with the backdrop of issues like Brexit and the apparent legitimization of racism and the rise of, or the re-emergence of racism, it kind of still feels like we have to maybe just retreat and protect ourselves a bit more.
Of course, there are other factors that we don't even think about. But if you see government ignoring exclusion of black pupils, if you read the stats on that and you see the latest finding on that, you'll all be shocked. You'll say, wow, this is unacceptable and it's unbelievable. The exclusion of black Muslims. And when the schools, the education bodies are held to account, they get taken to court over this.
Yeah.
So there will be, I think, change in the positive direction if we collectively get together as a team.
Absolutely, and it will take time as well. Let's not forget, it's not going to happen overnight.
But we need to make intention. So straight after we have radio, we have what after radio. This is our motto, what after radio. So after radio, this is one of the initiatives that we have to make happen.
Okay.
Collectively, with the whole community. Otherwise, we're not going to move forward.
Brilliant. So thanks for that. And, listeners out there, I hope you are enjoying Ramadan special on EVA 102.5 FM this year. Give us your feedback. Give us your thought, because, this is for you. It is for the community. And we want to hear your feedback. We want to know where we can do things better, if that's the case. What you've enjoyed. This is designed to sort of inform, enlighten, empower, and educate during the 30 days of Ramadan. And we would love to hear from you. Big thank you to everyone who gets involved in Ramadan special, EVA 102.5 FM. Everyone does it voluntarily, right?
Of course, there's a huge number of volunteers, and I take my hat off to them all, and I applaud them. And you can never thank them enough, right? And nobody should vilify anybody who's trying to make a difference. And everybody has to do their part, right? And it's not one person's responsibility.
Yeah.
We all have to do this. And you got to take your hat off to all the volunteers, the Muslims. raise £100 million in the month of Ramadan.
MashaAllah.
These are the figures in 2016. I don't know what the latest figures are, but British Muslims give more to charity per capita than all other religious groups
Combined.
combined. So that tells you that how much goodness Muslims have,
Yes.
how morally astute they are.
No,
Otherwise, they would not give this charity, would they?
well, there's a sense of responsibility that comes with that.
Of course.
And it's recognizing that we are responsible and this is what we're taught and we try to act upon. We've got a few minutes left of the program. Zed, just we'll touch on a few other things, but please get in touch with us, folks. No phone calls. Are you out there? What are you doing? Are you sleeping? We've got a few minutes left. It's 212-9324 if there's something you want to ask Zed or comment on anything he's said during the last hour or so. We had one comment from Sister Amrin, Jazakumullah khair for that. So there's an event happening on Sunday at the City Retreat, an iftar program.
That's right, yeah. This is an iftar program. So if you guys can go and buy some tickets for that, and it'll be a good event.
Yeah.
And understand you will be there.
I think so. Yeah, and I need to do my beard and my I'm looking a bit scruffy right now.
You've got to smarten up for that event.
I've got to get my act together. That's right.
Yeah. So, of course, if you can come along, there have been many, many events of iftar throughout the month of Ramadan, and Ramadan is just unbelievable that it's just come and gone, hasn't it?
Yeah, it comes and it goes. I always sort of I get a bit nervous before the start of Ramadan, thinking it's going to be so long, and I hope, and I make dua to Allah to give me the strength to endure everything. And alhamdulillah, it always works out to be far easier than you imagine. You tend to find the strength somewhere. You tend to find the motivation and the determination and the concentration and all those things that are required to have a good, productive Ramadan. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with that. And again, it's been great being on the radio. I will miss this when it ends, but I'm on again on Monday. So if I can just quickly plug my program on Monday, 1 p.m. this Monday, 3rd of June, we're going to have representatives from Loros, the hospice. Hugely important organization for me personally. Very, very dear and close to my heart. They do amazing work, and we'll be talking about a research study which have just started. Really important about how we engage with members of the BAME communities around understanding their needs for end-of-life care, so that the NHS understands what people from different backgrounds, what their requirements are as they approach end of life. So really, really key, really important. I would urge all the listeners to mark that in your diary. 1 p.m. on Monday afternoon. It's going to be myself hosting, and members of Loros are going to be here with me. So please tune in.
Of course, this is a great initiative for all of us that we have engaged with all the stakeholders in the city of Leicester.
Yes.
And we continue to do that. And if we don't engage with them, then we are at fault if we don't engage with them, because so many of us have known somebody who has been at Loros in our lives, or
but yeah,
a friend or a family member.
A lot of us don't know what Loros does. They just think it's a hospice where people go to spend their last days, but it's much more than that. And they're doing some really pioneer, cutting-edge work. So one more message. Great, Zed and team doing an amazing job highlighting the issues of the community and discussing the solutions. Keep it up. Jazakallah, brother Adil. Final word from you, Zed, before we go into the 7 o'clock show.
Well, I've read Adil's name, and he's already done his iftar, and we're still waiting to do our iftar. So, Adil, you're making us now a little bit hungry.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's done his iftar because he's not in England.
Yeah, okay.
He's in another country.
He is in another country. So wherever he is, hope he's enjoying the program. Hope you're enjoying. Going to wrap it up there, folks. It's been a pleasure as always, and I'll be back with you soon. Assalamu alaikum.
Hey.